in what world does your MVP get shut down by, 60-year-old Al Horford? I turn this thing on. I don't watch a lot of regular season NBA. I turn this thing on. I go, this is your king? This is your MVP? Take out the expo marker, please, and teach someone something instead of just PK Subban running around and like playing dress up.
It's like the Pirates against like the Rockies at like 9:40, and someone's like, "Why are you watching this game?" At that point, I have to say, like, I have money on it. You can't be like, "Oh no, I'm just a big enthusiast of the NL Central and NL West."
Welcome to Gamblin and Ramblin, a weekly show where we react and rant about the weekend. We react and rant about the weekend. Easy for me to say. I'm Tim Kalinowski. I'm joined by Charlie DiSturco. You can follow us both in the Action YouTube channel, Action Network HQ on TikTok and Twitter. Wow, really horrid start. Charlie, what's going on?
What's good, man? Things have been better, but I haven't been able to talk to you the past week. You've been so busy. It's just been me and Nick Martin in a private message instead of our group chat. It's been an interesting week of sports. It's the NHL's almost done, the NBA is almost done, so we're about to enter the dog days of summer, Tim.
Yeah, I was at graduation all weekend. I went from London to a graduation, and it don't just go to a graduation. It's a full weekend affair, like trying to squeeze in sports to the graduation, especially when it's not your show. It's somebody else, like, oh, it's their day. It's like, no one else here wants to bet day baseball. Like, really, this is what we have to do. So it's like you kind of, unfortunately, it's a day you have to have a lot of give and take. And as a bettor, as a sports, watcher, it's tough to like just kind of swallow it and be like, it's not my day.
Yeah, it's always good to take a day off though, or just bet once or twice, not really pay too much attention. It's good for the mentals. So you had a mental break. That's all you say.
I guess one of the best things about this, though, or worst things, since I haven't been able to be completely dialed, I mean, I'll just have to tip my cap. The NBA has been infinitely better than the NHL. It has. It really has.
I can't believe that we're talking about this, and it's true. I mean, we called the NBA the National Blowout Association, and while there are still a lot of blowouts, think Game 7, Celtics, Sixers, the NHL has been so much worse. Last night's Game 7, Stars and Kraken, was the only close game I feel like I've watched in the past month.
Yeah, it was the first minute and a half of the Oilers and the Knights, which was like about as good of hockey as you'll ever see. And, good thing it wasn't even on TV. So that's really good.
Yeah. It's a disaster. I will say though, and this just kind of to get into the NBA part, I am so happy that Joel Embiid is eliminated. I almost cracked open like a piñata. Like, I was so excited. I was ready to throw a party that Embiid was eliminated because he is the biggest crybaby in sports. I can't stand him and his load management and his knee injuries and him thinking he's the MVP. The real MVP is in Denver, and he's still alive right now. So suck it, Joel.
So what do you think about his comments about saying that, him and Harden can't win this thing, can't do it all on their own, even though him and Harden played, pretty poorly in that Game 7. I thought that the comments were taken a little bit out of context, that he wasn't necessarily talking about that game. He was talking more on like a macro level, like next season, it can't just be me and Harden. We need more help. But still, not the right time to say it. These guys have a knack for just saying things at the worst time. Just swallow your pride, get out of there, and go talk about that in a couple of days. No?
And not only that, Tim, but you lose a Game 7 in which you played horribly, take some ownership. Joel Embiid was one of the worst players on that floor for a lot of the games that he did play. Like, James Harden dropped 40 points in Game 1, led them to that win. There was plenty of role players. PJ Tucker had 3 threes in the first quarter. That he was plus 1100 to hit the 3 threes or something like that. Hits it in the first quarter, right? Like, he's doing the unexpected. And Joel Embiid, meanwhile, has just been utterly disappointing. And you look at you just go look at the list of just how bad Joel Embiid has been. You look at it. We were talking about what BPM means, box plus or minus. He grades out around Paul Reed. Like, when you look at him relative to how an NBA player was playing, he was just like his backup. you have to take some ownership for how bad you played. And he just was like, oh, I'm the MVP. I'm the best. Dude, Al Horford strapped you up.
I was
He's
just
like
about to say that.
45 years old, and he strapped you up.
I was just about to say that. In what world? And I love me some Al Horford. Love me some Al Horford. In what world does your MVP get shut down by, 60-year-old Al Horford? I turn this thing on. I don't watch a lot of regular season NBA. I turn this thing on. I go, this is your king? This is your MVP? This is your guy? I'm like, and they're like, yeah, they got to continue to get Horford on him. I'm like, he should be licking his chops if he has Horford on him. No?
That's like when PJ Tucker went up to him and was like yelling in Embiid's ear saying he's him. If you're him, you go out and you drop 30 a game on Al Horford. I mean, listen, Al Horford, great defender. But like,
love him.
If you're an MVP and you are saying you deserve this MVP, you need to go out and you need to beat the Boston Celtics. And I don't even know, maybe there was one game that Joel Embiid was really like dialed in, but he was so obviously not great in game 7. Game 6, he struggled against Al Horford a bit too. It was so weird. Like, and then he was like, oh, I didn't touch the ball in the final 4 minutes of game 6. Dude, then go get the ball. Like, you're the MVP. If you're the best player on the team, go get the damn ball.
He is the fucking epitome of everything that is wrong with that sport and makes it so tough to watch at times, because we should be celebrating that we're about to, we're on path to get a Celtics Lakers NBA Finals. How great would that be? LeBron, Tatum, Boston, LA. And instead, we have to talk about this stupid regular season MVP accolade that all these guys just, it seems like they care more about the individual MVP than anything else, because there is zero. If we're gonna celebrate Jayson Tatum from after his god-awful start to game 6, and then he woke up and he says, respectfully, I'm one of the best players in the world, and everyone goes, look at that confidence, can you believe that? Unbelievable, never stop shooting. Then Embiid has to take some accountability when he lays an egg, right? In the same way, I wasn't good enough tonight. I wasn't good enough.
Yeah, how do you go and talk in front of the press and not even just address that? Like, you're one of the sole reasons why this team is not performing well. Do you want to know why this team has so many role players? Because they're busy paying you and Harden the big bucks. And you want to know what you have to do in those games? You have to show up and you have to win and you have to demand the ball and you have to go at it. Because there are very few players who can guard Embiid at his highest point. He looked scared at multiple times to attack. He was uncomfortable with Al Horford on him. I mean, put Al Horford in a walking chair and he's still strapping up Embiid. It was incredible to watch this Mickey Mouse MVP just do absolutely nothing. While then in the Western Conference, Nikola Jokic is dropping triple doubles like it's nothing. He's putting up numbers.
He's not totally excused from also celebrating Mickey Mouse MVPs. Let's just be clear.
Okay, but like the stat, but at least like Jokic showed up, and Jokic, game 6 against the Suns, right? Or you play Durant and you play Booker, two of like the best scorers in the NBA. Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets blew them out by 20 plus in game 6, like it was just like, it was so utterly shocking to watch the Sixers do absolutely nothing in the biggest game of their career, and Embiid to then throw the blame, which not all the blame, right? Like I think it was taken out of context, but to throw the blame a lot toward exterior things and not himself. Like at a certain point, man, like you could talk all the shit you want. He does it all the time. Early in his career was worse. Now he's a little bit better. But if you talk a lot of crap about other players and how good you are, then when the time comes, you have to do it and you have to put it all together. And just real quickly, I just want to bring this up. There's 5 series Joel Embiid has won in the postseason. You do not know this because I'm saving this for the show. Can you name the best player Joel Embiid has ever beaten in a postseason series?
Trae Young.
No, they lost.
Who?
Bradley Beal. These are the players
that's a good one.
In 2018, he beat James Johnson, Goran Dragic, Kelly Olynyk, Josh Richardson. Those are the 4 most played players on the Miami Heat team in 2018. 2019, Joe Harris, D'Lo, Karis LeVert, Dinwiddie. Nets. Wizards 21, Beal, Westbrook, Rui Hachimura, Davis Bertans. 22, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent. Nets this past year, Dinwiddie, Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Royce O'Neal. Like that, he hasn't beaten anyone that's good. That you can't even field an all-star team with that cast.
Not a lot of guys going to Springfield on that list. I'll say this. I'll close with this. One, when I saw the quotes, I thought nothing of it. Didn't even think we'd talk about it here because it's so on brand for him. What else did you expect? And number two, shouldn't he be now? I feel like there's two parts to like becoming a great team in the NBA. The first part is proving that your young stars are capable. So Embiid, homegrown prospect, capable. The next part is courting role players, other people to come help you. The way he just basically treated the rest of his role players and the rest of his team does not make me, if I'm an NBA vet looking at ring chase, want to jump into Philly. That was not a good campaign. Not at all.
No, in what mind do you want to go play for him with Embiid? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like,
no, I agree.
He shoots the ball 20 times a game. He's one of the best players, yes, but he just like, I feel like there's never a month or two where Embiid will go without complaining at some level, whether it's the refs or whether it's his teammates or whether it's that he's not getting enough respect. Well, Joel, you got the MVP and you laid a fucking egg in Game 7. So you got to go eat rocks.
I know. He's not unlike the rest of the league, though. That's part of the culture of the league. But you have to win at one point. Like, you have to at least go lose in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? At least, like, it's been the same story over and over and over and over again. I will say much of my frustration comes with the fact that my sport, hockey, absolutely blows. I mean, absolutely sucks.
You can't pick a worse Final Four than the four that we have. We have Carolina, Florida, Vegas, and Dallas. And if you ever want to know if the NHL or any sport is rigged, just look at the Final Four in hockey and tell me that Toronto, Edmonton, New York, and like any other team that still was there, they're not in it. It's these four.
Dude, I thought the same thing as I was driving home yesterday. I said the same exact thing because the NHL is in a situation where they got destroyed so hard during COVID that they need the salary cap to go up and they need big market teams to move on as far as they can. If you think sports are rigged, then either the NHL sucks at rigging now or they just really aren't rigged, because it is, I tell you right now, it is not in the NHL's best interest to have Florida, Carolina, Vegas, and Dallas in the Final Four. Not at all. That ain't good for the cap.
Yeah. All three, the New York, New Jersey teams all lose to that whole East side. Toronto puts up an egg against Florida, and Florida also beats Boston. Like it's like if you a 3-1 lead would not have been blown, right? There would have been everything done in the favor to give Boston that Game 7 win.
Where's Scott Foster for the NHL? Where's Scott Foster to get that Leaf series to 7? What are we doing?
We need the extender back in. It was, oh my goodness, I like couldn't believe it. And then like watching, listen, Vegas, semi big market, I guess, because like Las Vegas always has fans, but like. They're not one of the. They're a new it's an expansion team. All four were expanded at some point. You don't get Edmonton. You don't get McDavid, McJesus in the. Shocking to say the least.
Dude, NBA people that are like, I hate that Scott Foster just gets thrown into a Game 6 and extends it. Scott Foster, I invite you to referee my league any day of the week. That Toronto series, we deserve 7. We deserved 7, please.
Scott Foster, if you're seeing this, throw on some skates, lace it up, learn how to go on the ice, and let's extend these series because we need some more. And none of these blowouts, none of these bum-ass Dallas or Carolina in the conference finals. We need a Toronto, a New York, an Edmonton, anything.
Honestly, so I'm really torn because I have some friends that are Hurricanes and Panthers fans, and they are real fans. And it's like, I'm down for growing the game. Like, southern markets like that. I'm all in. I want to feel all into that. I think part of it is that for me is the brand in which they play. Like Carolina plays a very boring style. Three of their best goal scorers are out. Three of the most exciting players. Like Pacioretty got hurt during the season, I guess, but still, like that is tough for me to watch. It's the brand in which they play. I wish they were just like high flying, oh my God, this is great for hockey in the South. For me, it's like hockey in the South. It's like, yeah, Carolina goes pretty far, but they play that, they play like Iowa football. Like, I think like the best thing to grow the game.
Yeah, it sucked that the first round matchups were like Toronto, Tampa, which could have easily been the Eastern Conference Finals matchup.
Yeah.
Rangers, Devils. Like, if you had mixed that up, I'm pretty confident that the Rangers ended up being the Devils. They would have moved by Carolina. They seem to have their number, and then we're maybe talking about a little bit of a different story here. But you're right, like Florida and Carolina, I haven't watched a game and been like, man, I am so excited and I am so loving this high style game, because it's just like counters and power play goals, and I've been starting to not watch as much, which is like kind of a pain, but it's just like, what am I gonna do?
And just like, I just have to get it off my chest, like just an all time, like I have been on this for so long. ESPN does not care about the NHL, nor did it ever. And anyone who thought they would is a complete moron. In what way? Sure, it's great to say that ESPN covers the NHL, worldwide leader. They are still, regardless, going to be 10th, 12th, 20,000th priority to them. And we saw this on Sunday.
Dude, I was going to say.
Yeah. And I know everybody's saying it, but they continue to do this. And I don't think the people that mess up are bad people or that they're like stupid. I just really don't think they care enough about it. So that's why we see errors. For instance, Sunday night, Connor McDavid is playing in a game 6, biggest game of his career. The game starts at 10 o'clock because ESPN wants to fit in Sunday Night Baseball. Fine, sure. The first minute of the game is on ESPN2, while on ESPN we are wrapping up a 9-1 Sunday Night Baseball blowout. Why is that necessary? So then you get 3 goals in the first 3 minutes of the game. Connor McDavid, the league's biggest star, scoring one of them. And then ESPN2 just cuts to the X Games. They don't even tell you you have to switch back to ESPN.
I walked away from my screen. I went to like get ready for bed, and I like walked out, and I was watching the snowboarding, and I was like, oh wow, like that's a weird highlight that they're gonna be showing in the middle of the Edmonton game. Like, isn't it still the first period? And it took me like 2 minutes to realize that they just changed the channel, and I was watching the X Games.
They take the sport I love and just spit directly in my face. Directly in my face.
ESPN's also, their coverage of the NHL is horrible in comparison to TNT. Like, TNT should just have sole rights. Like, Biz is great. The entire cast that they have there is just so much more entertaining, and like you could tell they're in love with hockey, and they're very pro hockey, and they want to cover it and show it for the public. And ESPN, they're like, well, St. Louis and Boston and the MLB is more important than watching the greatest player in the NHL.
The lesson is this: the ESPN, in between periods crew, pregame crew, it proves something that every executive should write down. Just because the person is a big name does not mean they are exciting to listen to. Mark Messier says nothing. Chris Chelios says nothing. PK Subban just entertains, doesn't say anything. It is the in between periods, don't say anything show.
Yeah, I mean, PK just got in trouble on his own right. They're all a joke. It's a laughing stock that they, first off, scheduled this game for 10 p.m. Eastern. Like, I get it. Like, okay, it's West Coast hockey. At a certain point, especially when it's 9-1, we see NFL games in blowouts change the channel to a game that's close at the end. If it's 42-20 and there's 2 minutes, 3 minutes left in the fourth, they change it to a game that's close with the fourth. There's a simple strategy and a simple way to really gain an audience and help expand the brand. And ESPN just does not care. And that's the sad part at the end of the day, is they would rather, have I don't even know who's on Sunday Night Baseball at this point, if it's Kirchin or who. But they'd rather have like A-Rod. I always think of A-Rod on Sunday, but they'd rather have like these random voices like of guys that like no one cares about discussing a 9-1 blowout.
And people forget too, like everyone's trying to replicate that TNT NBA halftime show, inside the NBA, and they're tremendous and they are unicorns, all of them. But they also do talk about basketball. They do the thing, they run to the board, they break down, this is, ISO pick and roll. They have to get, this guy should have went under instead of over. Like ESPN, like you still have to mix that in. That's why it's still a really good show. They also tell you a little bit. Like, can we mix in something? Could someone drop a play? Could someone take out the expo marker, please, and teach someone something instead of just PK Subban running around and like playing dress up?
Yeah, there's not really much to add. Like it's just a disaster at this point. That like
disaster.
Yeah,
fucking disaster. I'll say that. So I have a question for you. So I'm a graduation this weekend, and I gotta know how much you believe in like good gambling karma, because I believe in this. So like Vegas is up 4-2 on Edmonton. I bet Edmonton. I had Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup final. And so I'm at this like grad party and one of the dads comes over and he's like, "Oh, you got money on the game?" And like I said, I have Edmonton and I have Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup. And so I could easily just say no, but I felt that it's good karma to say your losses out loud and show people that you're human and that I'm not just like, I stand for something. I'm not just going to lie to you. I have ethics and principles. If you're in my spot, do you tell them that you were indeed betting on the losing team?
Yeah, I'd say it depends on the situation, but I'm always like pro saying your bets, whether it's going well or bad. Usually I'm like, oh, I bet this team and like, yeah, utter disaster, and try to laugh it off and then see what they say. I just like, it depends on the situation. Like sometimes I don't want someone knowing that I'm betting on like 7 games in a night. So I'll be like, oh no, I don't have money on this game. But like, I'm not one to be like only discussing my winners. And I think that that's what you have to do, is you have to show that you're mortal. I mean, our picks are in the Action app, so everyone can see how bad of a cold streak I'm on right now. And like, yeah, I own up to the fact that I have not been good. But yeah,
but like this guy doesn't give it. This guy wouldn't know either way. Like,
so,
he doesn't give a shit.
Then who cares? Like, why would you not say that? Like, he's what is he gonna say? Oh wow, like damn, that like I'm sorry for you, and then you're like, yeah.
No, it invites the like. Oof. Should have bet Vegas. Yeah, thanks, man.
And at that, that it invites that, and then at that point, you just like that's where you give a dirty look, and you're like, yeah, that's that. If I was, 6'7" and could dunk, I'd be potentially playing in basketball.
I think it's like I feel better about myself for like admitting it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know what? In a matter of fact, I had him to win the Stanley Cup.
And I bet you like you said that, and the guy was probably like, it makes sense. Like Edmonton should probably have beaten Vegas, So it's not even like, I don't know.
Yeah, he was like, and then I think he says, I'm like, you bet the Celtics? I was like, no.
So then he was like, oh man, like really bad day for you, huh? And you're like,
yeah. I was like, there's a reason.
Yeah, I'm pro doing it. I think that at the end of the day, like you I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on like who you're talking to and stuff, but like you don't win every bet. So like why would you not like hide your losses,
I know, but I just could have easily just been like, nope, no action. No, nothing.
I'm just watching this game crazy. It's 4-2 and there's 4 minutes left and the game's over, but I'm still watching, holding hope that David scores 2 goals in 4 minutes. I can't believe that, right?
No, it's good. I think it's a good. I think about it a lot in situations where like I know that it's like you have like when you're a gambler, it's almost like we bet so much you kind of like can decide someone new how much you want to let them in on like the actual like scale of your gambling.
Yeah, whether or not that usually it's one of those things where I'm like, it's like the Pirates against like the Rockies at like 9:40 and someone's like, why are you watching this game? At that point I have to say like, I have money on it. You can't be like, oh no, I'm just a big enthusiast of the NL Central and NL West, and I'm watching
two of
the worst teams at 9:40.
That happened. Like I had the clicker, and like there was a blowout NBA game on, and like I figured the crowd would like that's like kind of more go do, and I'm like opening the MLB app to like watch the 8th inning of the Brewers game, and I'm like, I don't think I can put that on.
that opens up the door for more judgment, and you cannot hide that you're betting on like Johan Oviedo of the Pittsburgh Pirates against anyone.
I guess the real problem is like a random MLB game. Like 20 years ago, that'd be totally okay. Like, you know, but it's like if you're watching like, you know, Mariners, you know, Angels at 10:07 and you put that on the TV, there's no saying I'm an Angels fan or a Mariners fan.
Yeah. You can only get away with it if it's like the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Mets, like the big teams, and especially we're from the Northeast, so like the Northeast teams matter more. But yeah, you can't really be defending your if you're watching the Athletics against the Rockies or whoever in an League. But I'm back. You know what? I'm watching the Athletics, so
I'm like praying they don't have their records underneath the teams, like on the TV.
Why are you watching the 9-34 Oakland Athletics against the 13-win Royals? Money?
So, funny thing, sir. The A's have been plus 425 the last 30 games, and one's bound to hit.
I'm a diehard Shintaro Fujinami fan. Like that's why I'm watching.
Yeah. Well, it's. You have to really be in it to understand it.
Yeah. I bet you like our parents are watching this and they're like, man, like who the hell is the Shintaro Fujinami? But my parents are used to me like having like 6 different games up on my TV at this point. So
yeah, at home it's way easier. It's way easier.
Yeah. Not to a random guy at a graduation.
No. You have to be careful with your audiences. I think that's it for us. We kind of crushed it today. We were cutting it up.
Yeah, we're looking unlike Joel Embiid. We're looking like the Boston Celtics, Jayson Tatum, Game 7, baby.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, so be sure to follow Charlie in the Action app at Charlie DiSturco. Follow me in the Action app at Kalinowski12. Maybe not. Follow me on Twitter, TimmyCal12. Thank you for tuning in, Charlie. Any last words?
I don't know if you want to be following me in the Action app right now, but other than that, let's have ourselves a series, hopefully, in the NHL.
Enjoy the last couple weeks of having not just MLB.
Go Mets.
Enjoy. Thank you, everyone.